Have we given up some of our constitutional rights during the coronavirus pandemic? I put that question to Kim Whaley. She's a constitutional lawyer and a law professor.
Have we surrendered our rights, or are they perfectly within their powers with what they're doing? The stay-at-home orders, the self-quarantine, all of the other stuff they're asking us to do.
So every state has its own constitution and has its own statutory laws governing quarantine. And this is all under the Constitution, sort of leftover or residual power under what's called the 10th Amendment, where states basically are in charge of health and public safety. So this is why we have local police officers, not federal police officers. As a matter of the Bill of Rights under the Constitution, issues like the Fourth Amendment, searches and seizures, the First Amendment ability to associate in public, the Supreme Court has been pretty clear since the early 20th century that when it comes to protecting the public at large, the government can make restrictions on our liberty so long as they're temporary and they are measured and they're narrowly tailored to actually address the threat. Today, of course, it depends on where you live. Some states have criminal penalties. Some states, it's just optional. Some states, we have a handful of states, 4 states, that haven't imposed any limitations whatsoever. And of course, we know from data internationally, countries like Germany and South Korea that implemented strict quarantine and other kinds of measures, they have fewer deaths and slower spread of the virus. And so at the end of the day, I believe from a constitutional standpoint, we are giving up certain rights, but we're giving them up so that we can get our full panoply of rights back sooner rather than later.
Kim Whaley is also an analyst for CBS News. Now, she says President Trump would be well within his authority if he decided to shut down the country and limit citizens' movement during the pandemic. Now, on the contrary, the president has said repeatedly that he has no plans to do just that.